feel like everybody that I talk to nowadays is always sleep deprived. Nobody seems to be sleeping anymore. It's like, how'd you sleep? Oh, I did not sleep well. Oh, I got 2 hours of sleep. Oh, fell asleep right away, but then I woke up 5 times in the middle of the night. Everybody seems to have the same reaction. Now, I was so curious that I put a poll out on my community tab just to see if the snack pack felt the same way. And sure enough, the results are in. The majority of people had hit or miss sleep or sleep that's not great. Now, I applaud the ones that are like, great, I wake up rested. That's amazing. But it was only 11%. Now, I know this is not a scientific study. There's less than 1,000 votes. However, it just got me thinking that it is such a widespread issue. There's a lot of pressure. The economy sucks. Everyone's mad at each other for some reason. And if you watch any sort of news, it's going to get you riled up and it just doesn't allow your brain to calm down. And it's not just us midlife folk because, we're getting older, our bodies are changing. I've been hearing this from younger people. I'm like, what do you have to be tired about? You're just starting out in this world. You should not be tired already. You have a lot of years after this to be tired.
Do I have some sort of medical condition? Because I'm tired all the time, like throughout the day.
Is anybody else having trouble sleeping in 2026?
Hi, my name is Alexa. I'm 30 years old and I haven't had a single good night's rest in 19 months.
Now, that's extreme, and some of them might have kids like babies, and maybe that's why they can't sleep. But I think there's something going on, and that's what I want to talk about today is a new trend called sleepmaxxing. Sleepmaxxing is a way to maximize your sleep. Now, when there's a new trend, businesses, industry is going to jump all over it, and they have to the max. Some of the things I'm going to share with you today are just pretty outlandish or just trying too hard. I don't know. I'm going to see what you guys think about this. So first, what is sleepmaxxing?
Have y'all heard of this trend called sleepmaxxing?
Sleepmaxxing? Your sleep quality sucks.
This trend is actually designed to improve your life. It's all about the routines, the gadgets, and the hacks that influencers swear by to improve their sleep. From mouth taping to the infamous Sleepy Girl mocktail, some tips are great and others are just not.
Sleepmaxxing is the latest viral trend taking over the internet. Maxing your sleep by perfecting pre-bed rituals.
Everyone's sleepmaxing now, and as a doctor, some of this is genius and some of it can be dangerous. Cool room, dark room, consistent bedtime, no screen time before bed. Yes, all backed by science. Morning sunlight to reset your circadian rhythm, fantastic. Magnesium before bed, yes, if it's magnesium glycinate or magnesium threonate. And this Sleepy Girl mocktail isn't what I would call a cure for insomnia. What I don't like about it is that it actually has quite a bit of sugar right before you go to bed.
There's a lot of good ways to maximize your sleep, but there's also some really weird things. Hold up, you're watching this video and you're not subscribed? Whoa, come in a little bit closer. Don't you know we're on the road to 100,000 snack packers? That's right, I just made this fake little thing because I have been at this 96,000 subscribers for a very long time. So I was like, you know what? I'm proud of myself. I'm going to get this little fake little thing that's made out of cardboard. And I'm just going to put it up and remind myself what I'm working for and that every single person in this number is somebody that I value, including you. So if you're not part of the family already, what are you doing? Become part of the snack pack. It's a great group. And while you're at it, you might as well just hit the like button and the notification bell so you get notified every time I have a new video. And he mentioned the Sleepy Girl mocktail. Now, there's nothing really super wrong with having a mocktail before bed, but these are just extra things to put on your list of things you got to do before you even get in the bed. Now, this falls into the category of what you can take to sleep better. And I have 3 other categories that I'm going to go over later on. But let's start with things you can take to help you maximize your sleep.
Let's make the Sleepy Girl mocktail. This mocktail's recently gone viral because studies show tart cherry juice can actually increase the amount of available melatonin in your body. So that could make you sleepy and could also improve the quality of your sleep. People have been mixing it with magnesium powder and I do not have that, but I did try this mocktail the other night and it did make me pretty sleepy.
So what the last doctor was saying is that a lot of the girls, they're trying to make it aesthetic as they do. So they're getting the tart cherry juice and they're putting the magnesium powder in there and then some sparkling water and maybe like a mint leaf or just, making it like a little mocktail. There's nothing wrong with doing that, especially because you don't want to have alcohol before you go to bed. But also the first thing that comes to my mind is, like he said, sugar, which I love me some sugar, but right before bed, it's not a good idea. And if you have a mocktail or a juice right before bed, you're probably going to have to pee a couple times during the night. And I've been reading up lately about just drinks in general and how cold drinks are not really good for our digestive system. And we should be drinking warm waters and warmer drinks. Now, that's a whole other rabbit hole to go down. But I don't know that having a cold mocktail before bed is the best idea. But there was some other things that falls more into the warm drink category.
This Sleepy Girl Moon Milk has been my latest obsession. It's my comforting elixir that tastes like dessert and works wonders to calm me down before bed. It's a mix of ashwagandha, rose, beetroot powder, and manuka honey. This combo is so tasty and soothing.
Now, these moon milks, this kind of reminds me of back in the day when our parents would say, oh, just drink a glass of warm milk to go to bed. I don't think you need all the extra stuff that goes in there, like the ashwagandhas, beetroot, and the little rose petals and all these things. It's just aestheticifying. Ooh, did I just make that word up? A drink before you go to bed. If you want to have a flashy little drink, that's fine. But I don't really see regular people in real life doing this every night. For reals, for reals. To me, I don't think people are actually doing this and putting it on the stove, because a couple of the other ones that I saw, people were actually putting it on the stove, warming it up, 4 or 5 jars of different things like making a potion. Also, the moon milk and like I think they called it golden latte or turmeric latte. There's nothing wrong with the ingredients in there, but a lot of them are from the like Indian traditions that might be rooted in Hindu practices. And I saw a lot of people talking about like the moon milks being associated with the lunar cycles and stuff like that. It starts to go into the mystical, which I don't partake in because I'm a Christian. I don't think you need any drinks to go to bed. I know that there are a lot of people that have a hot tea before bed because it's soothing, it kind of calms you down, but as long as it doesn't have caffeine. Some of these things are just sort of novelty. And then it just started becoming really weird because people are starting to boil weird things.
Did you know that if you remove the peel of a banana and instead of throwing it away, you cut it into small pieces and cook them in a pot of water? The banana peel will release tryptophan, an amino acid that stimulates the production of hormones that help regulate sleep, such as serotonin and melatonin. If you suffer from insomnia, have trouble sleeping, or wake up many times during the night, a cup of this drink will help you sleep deeply without the need for medication.
Who's going to be cutting up banana peels and boiling it and making a drink out of it every night? If you suffer from insomnia, I think you would try a bunch of other things before you would do banana water. And then it just got worse from there.
Apparently, drinking lettuce water makes you sleepy.
I'm a dietitian, and we are definitely trying this out today. Without further ado, let us get started. Step 1, put washed lettuce in a cup. Step 2, pour some kettle water. Step 3, steep for 10 minutes and think about all the places you went wrong in life where this is the most exciting thing you've done all week. Step 4, taste test. It is exactly what you think it's going to taste like. But does it work? So lettuce contains something called lactocarin, which is known for its sedative effects. But the amount that you would consume from this is so small that it would just not make a difference.
That's why you got to be careful about what you see online, on TikTok, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, because there's a lot of things that are like, oh, this item has this sort of benefit to it. And then people are like, oh, let's just make this into something that we can ingest. But it doesn't mean that you're going to get the full benefits by doing that. So whenever you see something online, research it. And I don't mean do 10 minutes of Googling or ChatGPT. I mean, really, if you're that interested in it, pull up the actual study proven that it works with many people and then do it. Otherwise, go towards proven methods because nobody's trying to drink lettuce water. That sounds disgusting. That sounds like drinking wet sock juice. I don't know. Lettuce water? No. And then people were talking about drinking sparkling waters that has magnesium in it, like that's sponsored by the app Calm. So they're now making drinks, which I'm not mad at the hustle. But when you start seeing tech companies investing in things you ingest, you kind of have to think like, who thought about this? And are they just trying to get my money? Now, I like some of the functional medicine waters, and I'll probably be doing a video soon on the dirty soda trend and functional drink trend because I find it fascinating. But I don't think that we need it for sleep. I think there might be some benefits to those things in other areas, but for sleep, I don't know. And then the final thing in the ingest category is supplements. And if we go back to what the other doctor said.
Okay, stacking 6 different supplements before you go to bed, That's not optimization. That's actually experimentation.
What he's talking about is the supplement industry of selling so many different things like valerian root, CBD, ashwagandha, L-theanine, and I've taken some of these, and especially melatonin. I didn't know this because I was taking melatonin and it's good for other things, but our bodies naturally produce melatonin, and there's things that we do in our lifestyle that stops the production of that, namely watching screens like light stops the production of melatonin. When we take melatonin supplements or pills, it creates it in your body, but then over time it alerts your body that, oh, I don't have to do this much work because it's incoming without me having to do anything. And then it messes with your natural melatonin production. So if you're taking melatonin every night, I'm telling you, stop right now. It's not a good idea. It's probably worsening your sleep. So taking a million supplements, it's not a good idea. But I know why people do it, because sleep is so important. And when you're trying to fall asleep and you're not getting anywhere, you're starting to panic and stuff. You're like, I just need to take something. So I'm just going to take this, 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 and this. I get it. Sleep is just that important. And I've been hearing a lot more nowadays how important sleep is. Like, we've always known that sleep is important, but I didn't really think about it or learn about it until now, about all the things that happens while we sleep.
Sleep is so important to your brain. When you sleep, your brain cleans and washes itself, and people who get less than 7 hours of sleep at night have lower overall blood flow to their brain, which means more bad decisions. So risk factors for brain health problems: insomnia, taking sleeping pills, having sleep apnea where you snore loudly, stop breathing at night, all of these things can damage your brain. It is critical to make sleep a priority, because when you sleep right, then you think right.
Now, this is Dr. Amen. He's a brain specialist. He's got clinics everywhere and he's well renowned. So he's talking about your brain health. And that's why a lot of us feel foggy. We have depression. I know there's other things about depression. I'm not a medical doctor, but there are things that happens when we don't get enough rest. Like when I was younger, I could go out, I could stay up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, go to sleep and then get up for brunch, whatever. Not now. I'm not even kidding. If I stay up past 1 or 2 a.m. and then I wake up even at 7 or 8 in the morning, because my body's just going to get up at 6:37 in the morning anyway, I literally feel like I have a hangover. A legitimate alcoholic hangover. I don't drink. I don't even drink alcohol at all in my life. But I feel like I have a hangover. I have a headache. I'm groggy. I feel like kind of nauseated, just like that buzzy feeling in my head. It's terrible. And it's because our brains need to have that time to rest. And I saw this other video that really breaks down even more what other things are happening while we sleep.
What actually happens inside your body when you fall asleep? It's not shutting down. It's more like a full night shift. First, your brain cycles through sleep stages. In deep sleep, your body repairs tissues, builds muscle, and releases growth hormone. Your immune system strengthens. Your heart rate and blood pressure drop, giving your heart a break. Then during REM sleep, your brain becomes highly active, processing emotions, storing memories.
It also is consolidating your memories as well. So this is how we are able to have different things that we remember later or comes to mind at a different time, is because during sleep, it's organizing all the things that we thought about or heard about or learned about throughout our day.
And even boosting creativity. That's why after a bad night's sleep, everything feels harder. Sleep isn't wasted time. It's when your body resets, repairs, and prepares you for tomorrow.
So there's a lot that goes into when you sleep. It's repairing your muscles. It's boosting your immune system. I was reading up on something else that talked about people that chronically are sleep deprived have worse immune systems and get sick more often. Now, when I watched that video, I started thinking about, it's kind of like if you hired a housekeeper and she comes in and she's your normal housekeeper. She comes over and she's like knocking on the door and she's just waiting outside of the door, just knocking, and you have your headphones on and you're just watching TV and you're not hearing her. And she's just like, hello, I'm trying to clean the house. And so finally you're like, oh, I think it's time for the housekeeper to be here. And then you open the door, she gets to cleaning, and then you're like tapping her on the shoulder, like, oh, my toilet's a little bit dirty. She's like, yeah, I'm going to get to that. That's like literally my job. I'm going to do it. And then she starts working again. And then you come over, you're like, oh, I forgot to tell you, like, the trash needs to be taken out. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to get to it. And then you tap her on the shoulder again and you're like, there's dishes in the sink. And she's like, no, I'm going to get to it. And she's just like, I ran out of time because you kept bugging me, so I'm leaving. And the house does not get fully cleaned. And it's the same thing within our bodies. Think of it as having an internal, tiny little housekeeper genie that just like starts from your brain. Well, I don't know where it starts, but just goes from your brain all the way to your toes, all the way up and down. Every part of your body is getting cleaned and refreshed, and all the toxins are getting kicked out, and all the muscles are being repaired, and all the brain feelers are getting tingled up and everything like that. And your internal housekeeper needs time to work. So if you keep staying up, she can't start. She can't clock in. So get to sleep at like 9:30 or 10 at night. I'm talking to myself right now because it's hit or miss with me as well. I just want to remind you that our bodies know how to sleep naturally. We were born with the ability to sleep. We have everything that we need inside of us. We just have to get out of our own way. Now, this next category is what you wear to bed. Now, a lot of these are going to be yeses for me. The only one that I'm going to say no to is like footy pajamas. You know, those ones that you like, you step into and it zips up. Like that is just like a hot pocket of warmth. And you want to be as cool as possible when you go to bed. That's like what they say is to be in the 60s degree range, not like 60, but mid 60s range. Now that's cold to me. I like it around 70, but they say the colder the better. So no to the footy pajamas, but loose cottony pajamas, those are good, or anything that wicks sweat away because you want to stay cool. Another thing is like silk sheets, silk pajamas, silk pillowcase. Those are really soft and smooth on your skin and your hair. So when I first heard of that, I was like, silk, that seems like it's going to be hot and sweaty. But it's actually pretty cooling because it's smooth and it just feels nice. And no, you're not going to slip off the bed. If you don't want to have full sheets or whatever, you can wear a silk bonnet for your head or a pillowcase, which I use a silk pillowcase. Now, another thing that's kind of a medical thing that people were talking about is sleeping with no underwear. If you think about it, underwear is to be worn under your clothes. So it's just underwear when you're wearing clothes. So when you go to bed, you don't need underwear because you're not walking around, you're sleeping. And there's actually some benefits to sleeping with no underwear.
This is why you should never wear underwear to bed, and this is for the ladies. Now, of course, after you shower at bedtime, there's really no need for underwear because it's good to have air and circulation in certain areas, if you know what I'm saying. And if you wear undies, you may be more prone to yeast infections, urinary tract infections, because of the harboring of bacteria in that area.
Now, that makes sense to me because you don't need to have your privates claustrophobic down there. You need to let it air out and breathe. Like you need time for your skin to just be skin. Also, I watched this other TikTok where it was talking of like this other doctor was like, you should always wear underwear because every night you pass gas and tiny flecks of fecal matter comes out of your butt, even though you can't see it, and it can get on your sheets and stuff. And I'm like, that's disgusting. I don't know. You're always going to have conflicting medical or scientific things because you have one doctor saying this, one doctor saying that. That's another reason why we're so stressed out because everything has two sides and you just have to have critical thinking, whatever works best for you. For me as a woman, I think it's better to let things air out. And that for me means sleeping in the nude. Now, did I always sleep in the nude? No. I was always like, oh, I would never sleep in the nude. Oh my God, that's just so weird. What if somebody tries to come breaking in the night and they're just like, I'm naked and all this stuff? I don't know what happened to me, but when like the last month that I was living in Texas, I was like packing and I had just limited amounts of clothes. And then some of my clothes were dirty and I'm just like, I can't, I'm just going to go to bed naked. I crawled into the bed. The sheets were nice and cool, put my blankie over me. And I was like, this is actually nice. Why don't I sleep nude more often? And then from then on, I just started sleeping in the nude. And it feels so nice and luxurious to get in bed and just to feel like your skin just being able to be au naturel, just like Adam and Eve vibes, just being able to just be crisp and clean, no caffeine. You know what I'm saying? Except in the winter, then I'm too cold and then I do wear like sweats. But I don't know. I would say try it. And that is another thing that was recommended as well.
Do you sleep naked? Do you know there's health benefits to sleeping naked? When you ditch the clothes at night, your body cools down faster. And when the temperature drops like that, it signals your brain to go into deep sleep, much faster than if you had pajamas on. You fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, wake up feeling way more refreshed. We also have a stress hormone in our body called cortisol, and having cooler body temperature lowers cortisol in the body. Also, when you sleep naked, your heart rate slows, your nervous system relaxes, and your mind settles naturally.
Letting your skin rest is a good idea. So I'm on the sleeping nude train. I know that's not for everybody, but it's another thing that you can try. Now, this next category is where big business gets involved. This is things you can buy to maximize your sleep. And there is so many things. When I started going down this deep dive, there was a list of like 20 or 30 different things that you can buy, probably more, to maximize your sleep. And you could spend a small fortune trying to maximize your sleep when our bodies are already equipped with everything that we need. Now, I'm only going to share a couple of the top things that people are raving on about. And of course, all these things are fairly expensive. So I don't think you need them, but some people swear by them. So if you've tried any of these things and you swear by them, leave it in the comments. But for me, I don't think I would ever try it. For example, all these trackers and rings and different mechanisms to track your heart rate and track your sleep and track this and track that. I don't know that we need that much more stress in our lives. We don't need to be testing ourselves at every point in time in life. For example, the Oura ring. Now, this is a ring that you wear and it's a smart ring and it's $350. Now, they have a protection plan, of course, and it's supposed to have smart sensing technologies to track all these different things. It's got 5 to 8 days of battery life, so you're going to have to charge it every week, which is whatever, it's fine. But then there's an app that you have to pay for as well, so you're never done paying for it. So I think it's like $6 a month or $50 or $60 for the year, but you just spent $350 on a ring, and then you got to pay $60 every year to keep up that ring. And then if it just lasts for a few years, you got to start over. It's also, are you really doing this every day? And is it really making you better as a person? Are you really analyzing and being like, okay, I'm 1% off, so tomorrow I'm going to do this a little bit better? It feels like a lot of pressure to me. It feels like more pressure. There's also things like Apple Watches. I actually hate smartwatches and the Apple Watch because every time I'm around somebody that's wearing one, and we'll be talking, and then all of a sudden they must get like a buzz or whatever it does on the arm, and they'll just like look down. They'll just look down, and I'll just look down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if you look down one more time, I'm going to rip that thing off your wrist and throw it in the ocean. I want to punch people in the face. Sorry, that's not a godly thing. But when they're looking at their smartwatches, it is so rude, and it just feels so robot-y and like you have no control over your person. So I don't like that. And then there was something that I saw that I was like, who's doing this? I try to be like, everyone has their own journey, but there was another thing called the 8 Sleep mattress pad. And this whole thing was like $3,000 or $5,000, depending on where you live. I think if you live in the UK or if you live in the US.
Remove the tank and fill it with water. Position and plug in the pod. Set up the base and connect these wires. Then this high-tech cover fits over the mattress and attaches to the pod. Water is then pumped through tubes, filling the thousands of capillaries below the cover's surface to regulate sleeping temperature. Embedded clinical sensors monitor key metrics like heart rate, sleep stages, even the number of breaths you take. Over time, it learns how temperature impacts your sleep and uses AI to automatically calibrate the perfect conditions to maximize rest. Plus, if it detects snoring, the base will rise to unblock your airways. The sides of the bed can be heated to different temperatures. Every morning you get a full sleep report. The cover can be used as a vibrator to wake you up, and you can control the pod by tapping the cover.
Okay, that doesn't look and sound too bad, but there was several other videos that I saw of somebody actually putting this together. So this does not include the mattress. This is just a mattress pad with that little container with the water. And so it's basically water on the top that's heating or cooling. Now, this is just bringing back the 70s when people had water beds. And listen, my mom and dad had a water bed, so I understand that fully. But I always thought in my head as I got older, I wonder what's lurking in the water of that water bed. There's probably got to be so much moldy, cloudy water in there and you could drain it and then refill it up. But I mean, the water's it's going to be sitting there for a long, long time. But this Sleep 8 mattress pad, I was hearing that people were springing leaks in it. It was getting their mattress all wet and moldy. I think that there's other ways to keep your room and your mattress cool, but I'm not spending $5,000 to have this contraption on my bed. One of the last things that people were heavily and still are heavily pushing is mouth taping.
Okay, guys, one of my most asked questions at the moment is about my mouth tape.
I'm sure people are not asking about your mouth tape. Probably not. This is probably when I was looking on social media, everything that I was looking up about mouth tape had an ad on it. So people are heavily selling different brands of mouth tape.
If you're thinking of taping your mouth to improve the quality of your sleep or appearance,
You sleep with mouth tape every day for 30 days.
So I've been mouth taping for like 2 weeks.
here's what you should know. Mouth taping has recently gone viral due to its ability to decrease snoring, improve the quality of sleep,
I've been having best, deep sleeps.
contour the jaw, and improve the appearance of the nose.
You feel like you can breathe through your nose a lot better.
It has become a billion-dollar industry and even been called the beauty of life. If you're one of the 30 million Americans who has sleep apnea, taping your mouth could actually be wildly dangerous due to its ability to restrict airflow, causing your oxygen levels to become dangerously low while you're sleeping. If you don't have sleep apnea, mouth taping might actually be beneficial. Breathing through your nose humidifies and moisturizes the air that enters your lungs, and mouth breathing has actually been touted to promote relaxation. If you're struggling with mouth breathing, snoring, or overall poor sleep, start with a proper airway exam, a sleep study, and consult your physician.
I've been seeing a lot of people just saying, oh, everyone should be mouth taping. If you have obstructed airways or deviated septums or whatever, and you put on mouth tape, you could actually die. Don't tape your mouth. You should definitely go get an exam before you even ever think about doing that. I've also been seeing some mouth tape with a hole in the middle, like a little tiny hole, so you can still have some airway just in case. But I'm not a mouth breather at night. My mouth just naturally closes. So if I was a mouth breather, if I slept all night, I mean, of course, there's times when I do, drool and all that stuff. But for the most part, I'm sleeping. I just don't think that I would feel comfortable with something over my mouth. Maybe I would, I don't know, but I don't think so. And they're selling them for so expensive. There was a few people that were on there saying that you could just go get the little skin tape that when they do surgeries, they put on your skin for a couple bucks. And you could just put a strip just up and down, not your whole mouth. I guess there are some benefits. I don't think that that's something that everybody needs. But who am I? I'm not the sleep police. Now, this last category is about things you should do. This is the final category about things that actually work, that almost everybody recognizes as the things that will help you sleep better. One of them that was pretty easy to remember was the 10-3-2-1 method.
Sleep quicker with the 10-3-2-1 method. 10 hours before bed, no more caffeine. This is how long it takes your body to clear it from the bloodstream and eliminate its stimulatory effects. 3 hours before bed, avoid big meals. This helps avoid heartburn and interrupted sleep. Also, avoid alcohol because this impairs your REM sleep. 2 hours before bed, no work. This helps you get into a relaxed state of mind. 1 hour before bed, no screens. That means Netflix too. Blue light inhibits melatonin production, which delays sleep.
So there you have it. That's the easy way to remember that you shouldn't be having caffeine, you should not have screens, all these things. It's basically coming up with a wind down routine or an evening routine. And I don't mean the one that's aesthetic, like fixing this drink and then putting on these special pajamas and, picking out this special beautiful journal and all these things. You can do all those things to romanticize the experience, but you don't need any of those things. You can simply turn off your screens, grab a book, sit on the couch, read until 10 or 15 minutes until you start to feel sleepy. It's just that last hour. It's also been said to sleep on your left side to have better digestion. If you're a side sleeper and you're choosing a side, choose your left side. And if you are laying there and you can't get to sleep, there's so many different things you could do, like cognitive shuffling, where you think about different things, which just look that up. That's a whole thing. But if you're having insomnia, if there's really something wrong, then you should either start sleep journaling to see what that is, if you've tried everything else, or go see a sleep specialist, because sleep is just that important, because you want your body to be all clean and clear the next morning. Now, I'm not the best sleeper, but I've been really working hard at it for the past year, and sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss, but here's what my preferred nightly routine is. So around 9:30, I turn off the screens and I either grab my Bible or my journal and I sit on the couch and I just zone out. Sometimes I will have a hot tea, but usually I don't drink liquids because I don't want to have to pee 15 times during the night. Then when it's time for bed, 10 or 10:30, I will put my phone on my desk, plug it in. And this was a hard one for me because I'm like, everyone else is always like, oh, I need my phone with me because what if an emergency happens? But I've figured out a way to leave my phone in the other room and have the peace of mind if somebody calls in an emergency. All right, so right before I go to bed, I put my phone on the desk, I plug it in, and then I just search for different sleep noise things like overstimulation, oxytocin, trauma healing, neurocalm. I like this cortisol purge one. I choose the one that has over 8 hours of sleep. So this one has 11 and it's got a black screen. That part doesn't matter. All right, so that's running now. Then I come to my room and I have this little clock, which was a little bit more than I wanted to spend. But the reason I bought it is because you can dim down the brightness of the clock, which I don't like to have any lights in my room. So I keep this super dim. So if I just wake up in the middle of the night, I could see what time it is. But the other thing is it comes with sleep noises, ocean waves, rain, all these things. But if you click the Bluetooth button right here, it turns on the YouTube video that I just selected, and then I have whatever sounds that I want. So I can have any sound online basically that can run through this Bluetooth. The other thing I like about this is somebody was trying to get in touch with me. My phone is in the other room. That was one of the reasons why I was like, oh, I always need my phone in the room. But now that this is on Bluetooth, if somebody calls that's on my emergency list, it'll ring in my room. So now I don't have to have my phone in my room. I also swear by this squishy pillow. This is a cover for that squishy pillow. I'll show a picture of it on the screen. But I use this to prop up my knee so that it kind of aligns my back. And then the final thing is my silk pillowcase. And this is not satin, because a lot of them will tell you that on Amazon or whatever, it's silk, but it's actually satin. But this is silk, and it's supposed to be good for your hair and your skin. So my phone is in the other room. I have my white noise on. I have my fan on. Sometimes I use a humidifier if it feels dry in the room. And then I crawl into bed, so cold and crispy on the sheets. I have a nice comforter. And then I always wear a sleep mask. And the reason I do that is because in my last apartment, I had like these really heavy curtains, but I found that they kind of darkened up the room during the day, and I don't really like that. So I don't really want to have heavy curtains in my room now. So I just don't have curtains. But it is pretty bright in my room, so I just sleep with a sleep mask on. And not all sleep masks are created equally. I had to go through 3 or 4 different ones because I have a tall Mount Everest looking nose. It's like, you know, the Swiss Alps of hair. So when I put the sleep mask on and my nose is sticking out here, it's like too forward. So I found one that has like a little lip over my nose, and now it's just like totally dark blacked out. So no matter what, if it's light in my room or when the sun comes up, then I still have my sleep mask on. And then when I go to take it off, then I'm waking up with the sunlight and it's great. But don't let me fool you, because the other times it's a miss, and this is why. Now that's on a good night. But one way that I get around it in my brain is that I'll be watching TV and I'll just like start, you know, getting more comfortable, and I'll just start sliding down on my pillow, and I'll just be like, oh, I'm just kind of sleepy, and then I just zonk out. And then I wake up and it's like 10:30, 11 at night, and then I'm like, well, I'm just cozy. So what I'll do is I'll turn off my TV, and then I'll just open up my laptop right here so that the screen is smaller, because somehow that makes sense. And then I'll just put on YouTube, or, you know, pull this a little bit closer, and then I'll just be like, well, I'm already here. And then I've slept here all night. And that happens so many times because it's cozy, which is not getting me off the screens, which is the whole point of getting a better night's rest, is not having the screens in my face. Sleep is not one size fits all. It can be complex, but our bodies do know what to do. So if we kind of get back to our natural rhythms and just the way that we were created to be, God created a time to work and a time to rest. And that is a gift for us to rest, because it gives us a chance to unwind and to relax and wake up and enjoy every new day. So those are the things that I'm doing, but what are the things that you're doing to improve your sleep? Share it in the comments with a snack pack because it's always better when we share our experiences with each other. And until next time, bye for now. And I was so curious that I put a poll from younger people, especially younger people. And I have 3 other categories that I'm going to share with you today. And I have 3 other. But it doesn't mean that there's enough to make you feel to have the right react. Snack time.